What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a tutorial and try to show you a little bit about how I paint. I'm going to paint a tree and maybe a waterfall and a lake with a couple planets on there. So let's check it out. Well, first off, I just want to start off by saying it's only about 46 degrees outside, so the dry times on this painting are going to be insane. And sometimes the paint doesn't like to cooperate real well when it's this cold, but we're gonna see how this goes. Start off, of course, you lay your color base, and set your cans or lids out to form where the planets are. And then we start spraying the planets. I just kind of start throwing layers. I don't pay a whole lot of attention about how I layer them up. Some people do. Some people like to go lighter to darker or darker to lighter or whatever they do in between. I don't. I just kind of make my planets. So I throw some paint down, a whole bunch of paint, then maybe put a little bit of spray over the top. That'll give some depth to it. And then get newspaper, magazine paper, the ads from in the mail every weekend, shoppers ads, whatever you need. Just give it a few little taps there. Now you got a painting. Now you got a planet. Do not throw some clear coat on it. Spray some fire, help it dry a little bit faster. And you want to go ahead and, on the dark side of the planet here, throw just a little bit of a shadow. Of course, you're going to do the same on the light side. Throw a little bit of brightness here. Now I'm adding some extra paint on the outside of this planet because this one's going to have rings on it. And it'll look cool. I'm going to teach y'all how to do that too. And this one I don't even think I'm going to swipe on it. As soon as I start to burn it, that color is going to pop through. And I think that looks cool just like that. And this one I'm only going to put just a little bit of shadow on it. And there we go. Now just give that a second to dry. Well, I think we got it dried out here, so let's find a cool place to set this lid. Let's find the best place to set this lid. Now, let's start spraying our space. I use navy blue a lot, and I layer up a lot of colors on my background just to try to give as much depth to the painting as I can. Now I'm gonna leave this spot down here blank because that's where some water is gonna go, and I'll have some other rocks here and try to get some color separation on there for a 3D effect. Put a little bit of purple through here. A little bit of brilliant blue. Most of what I use is Rust-Oleum. I use a lot of 94 and iron lac and your other low pressure paint systems as well. But I really enjoy the Rust-Oleum. Cheap. I just go grab it at Walmart. I don't have to order it and wait for it. My town doesn't have a graffiti store, so I got a background on here, and I always love to throw some seaside on there. And then I'll try to follow over that with some fluorescent colors just to really pop it out of there. And then my stars, I flick my stars from my hands. Sometimes you go back and just to put a little more depth around that galaxy right there, Milky Way, whatever you want to call it. You can go ahead and do that. Throw some stars around on there. I like a lot of stars on my paintings. It's part of my style. And then I go around my painting, or around my planets, and I'll put a bit of an aura around it, just to give some color pop to it. Sometimes these planets are different colors, so you can add a little bit of different colors around it. And then what we're gonna do, the great reveal. Nice. So now for the ring of the planet, I just tear off a piece of poster board, fold it over, and I'll tear a slit right down on it, just like that. Throw a little bit of clear coat to re-wet that paint. It's best to make sure you don't have nothing in your way, so you don't want to mess this ring up. I'm going to get one shot at it. Well, that one ain't the prettiest one I ever done, but you get the point. So now I need some ground for my tree to stand on and my possible waterfall here. First I'm gonna throw just a few clouds around, add a little bit of separation. For my clouds, I just take a piece of poster board, tear it apart, and I usually like to go back and just splash a little bit of some color on there, maybe a couple different ones. This is how you put the depth in your clouds. Then I go back Now, I haven't made a tutorial video in a while, so bear with me. Now we're gonna make some rocks. So my paint is not wanting to dry right now. So right here, I'm gonna have a waterfall, so I'm not really doing much for putting rocks there. You wanna put some movement in with your rocks, make it look cool. Now I have to put a tree here. I love painting trees. It's one of my favorite things to do. As you can see, it's cold, so my paint does not want to dry. It's kind of difficult, but we'll get something done here. It'll definitely look cool. And then this is something that I always kind of do with a lot of my paintings. I think it looks really cool. I like to make it look like the waterfall is flowing out of the tree. So for me, I always put some shrubs around the roots of my trees, over here on my rocks. Just kind of grab that palette knife and just kind of flick it. Have fun with it. It ain't gonna be, there ain't no right or wrong way to do it. That's the beautiful thing about plants is if you look at the plant in your house, there ain't really no right or wrong way to do it. Just let it grow. I just grab my palette knife and I just let it grow right from my palette knife. Same with the tree. Fortunately, I'm going to be covering up a lot of my planet here, so this tree is going to be a spring bud tree. Not going to have a whole lot of leaves. Now I'm going to go back up to the upper portion of my painting here, and I'm going to add some stars. Uh-oh. See what just happened right there? Man, it's almost like my whole painting's ruined. I'm going to teach you what to do about something like that. Especially if you ever want to go out and paint live for an audience. Things like that might happen sometimes. Things like that will happen a lot of times because especially the faster you're trying to paint, the more and more you're going to have things like that happen. What you got to do is you got to just stay calm. You can't sit there and throw the painting away because it ain't gone. You just got to sit there and think about how you could fix that and make it look like you did it on purpose. That's what big part of what being a spray paint artist is. Being able to make your mistakes look like you did them on purpose. So I'm going to just leave that like that for right now. I will tell you one thing, when I'm out spray painting for live audiences and stuff, it's in the summertime, so it's always warm. So while I'm letting this down here dry a little bit, let's see, what are we going to do about that? You know what? That's just going to be my third planet. So I'm going to take my planet stencil, and I'm going to throw it around there. Then I'm going to set some more dead cardboard on it for overspray. Throw a few washers on here so I can keep my form of my planet. And then sometimes what seems to be a catastrophe turns out to be cool. So I'll bet this painting looks better with 3 planets than 2 anyway. Well, let's see what happened. See if we messed it up worse or made it better. Looks just fine. Now let's just throw some leaves on the trees. Now remember, I don't want to cover up too much of my planet there, so I'm just gonna be a tree with like some spring buds. So I just take my sponge, put a little green on an old dead piece of poster board, and just start tapping it out a little bit. Now remember, a budding tree is not going to be as full and luscious as a tree with all its leaves in the summertime. So just kind of go tap it out. It's almost springtime here anyway, so we'll just let the trees bud like the trees around here. They're not quite budding yet. It's still a little bit too cold for that. And to be honest with you, this talking my way through these paintings I've never done before, so it's kind of new to me. I'll probably get better about it, a little more comfortable. So if you want, jump down there in the comments and tell me how I'm doing. Don't be afraid to tell me if I sound like a loser. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings. I prefer respectful criticism, but as long as it's constructive, it's cool. So now I use a darker green to start that out, and then I spray some of my lighter green. For this, I'm using the iron lac. I like the it's a little bit thicker paint, and it just seems to make better leaves on the tree sometimes. I just kind of go tapping around. I mean, you think about a tree, you look at it, and it just kind of just grows buds and turns into something cool. So that's all we can hope for with this. Now, when you're painting out on the streets, you might be painting a whole lot faster too. You're painting for an audience. They kind of like the wow factor of trying to get a painting done in 10 minutes or less. It's kind of cool. Maybe later on I'll make some videos like that. But for right now, I'm just doing the best I can. Try to figure out how to teach you guys this stuff. Turns out I didn't really get over to my planet much at all, so that's kind of cool. My tree looks kind of scruffy, but I love that look. Now for my waterfall. Just gonna take a dead piece of poster board here. You see I tore off a piece right there. Spray some white paint. I use the serrated edge. Sometimes I use the flat edge, but I normally use the serrated edge just because it tends to get a little more texture in the waterfall. And I try to make a bit of a river out of my tree there, and then waterfall it. Drag the paint down. Try your best just to get it as good as you can on the first try. Now we got a waterfall. So, next step is, gotta have water for a waterfall. So I'm gonna go right here, put a piece of poster board, And I just like to make some lines. Put a couple different colors of blue in there. Maybe a bit of darker blue. And go back over it. And then of course right here where my waterfall is, I add some extra white. And cover the top of it with white. Now, cool. And then I'm gonna go back to the waterfall here and add a little spray. Little bit of splash at the bottom of the waterfall. It's really annoying because it's so cold out here. This paint don't want to dry. But that flame adds some pretty cool texture into my water there. Now we'll see. So, I'm going to go back to add some definition in my rocks. I just remember, this is water. Water just out there making waves with the wind. You don't need to be too picky about it. Just have fun with it. My mist from the waterfall got a little goobered up on me there. Well, now I'm going to close off my lake and bring some more definition into my painting here. This is the part that's kind of tricky because now all that blue from the water right there likes to go through the rocks and need some separation of the color there. Some extra colors in my rocks right here. So I, a lot of times, like to put a little bit of extra paint on there and then let it dry for just a minute or two. Especially when it's super cold. So while I'm letting that dry, one thing, painting's gotta have shooting stars. Take a dead piece of cardboard, fold it over, simple as that. I like to put a lot of shooting stars on my paintings. Yes, everybody can be the judge for themselves on what's too many shooting stars and what ain't. Some of my paintings, it's like the whole thing's covered in shooting stars. Some of them are not that many. So again, just have fun with it. Find your style and run with it. Well, let's go back and see if these rocks are ready to be made for me. looking all right. Now I'm just holding my finger in there and using my fingernails to add texture and make the rocks. Sometimes I go back with my palette knife and really make them pretty. Sometimes I don't. This one I'm not going to. I've already been working on it for quite some time. So here's what I'm going to do. Put my magical signature. Go back with a little bit of clear coat here. Add a few plants. Puts a flame on it. And that's it. I'm gonna call this one done. That took a whole lot longer than I thought it would. But you know what? It looks pretty nice, and I hope you learned something.